What a weekend we had there at Comicon. As always, I'm Al, this is the Geek in Review. And I'm going to be talking about She-Hulk and the new She-Hulk trailer, and also some spoilers for the show as well. So let's get to it. So, despite my facts, I keep mentioning it going all the way back to WandaVision, Marvel aren't deciding to call their cinematic universe MTV, quite sadly, despite my pleas or even threats to Kevin Feige. And this is the second trailer, and the first one did get a little bit of stick for some bad CGI, and yeah, I'll be honest, some of it is still not great, but I think this is worth a closer look. So if you don't know that much about She-Hulk, I'm not going to ruin it too much, because as always, Marvel just sort of loosely adapt the things from the comics, but in terms of her origin, it's probably going to stick quite heavily to what is in the books, because the main character, Jennifer, gets the Hulk power after a blood transfusion from her cousin Bruce. So from the trailer it seems, like I say, they're sticking to it, but she's definitely her own thing, and the trailer does show us that as well. And straight away, I like how Bruce now has someone that he can relate to as the Hulk, because he's not really had that since he's popped up in the MCU. In terms of who he could relate to, he's somewhere between Thor and Captain America with his powers, and that he got it through an experiment, but he is maybe the most powerful Avenger. And after over 10 years, he's finally getting someone that he can talk to about how he feels about this, because no one else is going to understand what it's like to have this destructive power. And I think that's absolutely great. One of the main criticisms that Marvel has over the years is the mismanagement or sort of toning down of the Hulk. It's not really their fault, because there's a rights issue with Universal, who, I'm not going to get into it, but it's complicated. If you think about why Marvel couldn't touch the X-Men because Fox had the rights and the Spider-Man thing, sort of like that. I don't think they've ever done the Hulk dirty, but they've not sort of had him at his full potential. There is a rumour that World War Hulk show is going to get announced at the upcoming Disney D23, so we're going to have to wait and see about that. But yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Bruce and Jennifer here, and hopefully we'll get a lot more Hulk in development of Hulk in phases 5 and 6. There might be some other familiar faces popping up in this show, and I don't just mean Daredevil, but I'll get to that in a minute. So when the first trailer came out, a lot of people compared this show or hoped it would be something like Ally McBeal. If you don't know what that is, it was a very popular lawyer comedy in the 90s, but watching the second trailer, this show feels more like Fleabag to me, which if you haven't seen it, it's only 2 seasons, go and check it out, absolutely hysterical. Especially the bit when she breaks the fourth wall and talks to the camera.
The lawyer, I respect that.
He doesn't mean that.
I'm not that familiar with She-Hulk in the comic books myself, but I remember someone telling me a while ago that that's something that she'd done. I don't know if that's 100% correct, so don't bother correcting me in the comments. But if they are going down this road, I think that's going to be interesting. I hope it's something that they stick with, because in Miss Marvel, the first few episodes had this sort of animated vibe that was in the trailers. And as I thought, they lost it pretty much halfway through the show, and I hope this is something that they continue as a thread throughout the season, because this show does seem to be focusing a lot on the sort of backstory of the MCU. Jennifer's a lawyer who's now representing superpowered people. We get a few different shots of the trailer of different superpowers going about their day and causing havoc. And if you ask me, this does feel a little bit like the most recent season of The Boys. But I don't think Marvel's copying them or The Boys are copying Marvel. I just think this is one of those things that it's just a sort of crossover coincidence, and not in a multiverse sense, I should add. And it also sort of makes me think, are they going to pick up the threads that they set up in Civil War? Because after Endgame, the whole argument about superpowered people now seems to be mute in the MCU. And that was really interesting, because if you've read the Civil War comic books, not all of them are great, but it does bring up some great discussions about how superheroes and supervillains fit into the world, and how some people think they should fit into the world. But speaking of villains, we do get to see Titania, and I've got to be honest, meh. You know, Marvel villains to me are either absolutely great like Thanos, or absolutely flat like whoever the fuck Christopher Eccleston played in Thor 2, and I think she's going to fall on the flat side. And we get some old villains back as well. Emil Blonsky from the original Hulk film in 2008, going all the way back to Edward Norton as the Abomination. He was in Shang-Chi, but Tim Roth, that plays the actor, wasn't. So how are they going to answer this? That's something I'm very interested in. I mean, has this guy just been sitting in cells for 14 years? We sort of know. We've seen him in Shang-Chi, what I say. We also get Wong in here, who to me is the new Nick Fury. I mean, he's got that vibe that Nick Fury had in Phase 1 where he just keeps popping up in all these different properties, which is absolutely fine, but I really didn't expect to see him pop up in She-Hulk, if I'm honest. And the big reveal of the trailer was Daredevil in his new suit, and if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I dropped this months ago that we'd be seeing Daredevil in the yellow and red suit. And it's nice to be right. I've got some other spoilers on this show, I'm not going to throw them out all here, and I've got some major spoilers on Daredevil, but that's for a video for later on. So at the very least, what I think you could do is celebrate this win with me by leaving a like and subscribe, I guess, if you want to. If you don't, that's fine, but you know, what else are you doing right now? So Daredevil's coming back. Well, he was already back in Spider-Man, but that was only for 30 seconds. He's going to show up in Echo, the Spider-Man animated show. We don't know if that's going to fit into canon, we'll figure that out later on, and a few others, but there is a rumour, and I do stress a rumour, that Ben Grimm, aka The Thing from the Fantastic Four, is going to be showing up in this show, played by Jason Segel from How I Met Your Mother. Now, I sort of want this to be true. I've not seen any physical evidence that it is. If you're asking me, do I think it's true? I think it's probably 70-30 against. The Fantastic Four is just too big to drop in like this, and the rumoured cameos for these shows usually don't pan out. Going all the way back to WandaVision, we all thought Doctor Strange and Mephisto was going to show up. So maybe lower your expectations when it comes to what's going to pop up in these shows going forward. We are getting a lot more characters, and a lot more characters that we haven't seen in the MCU, so we might likely get a surprise here and there, but yet, when it comes to the stuff on Disney Plus, there hasn't been any majorly huge shocking things, other than the Ralph Bohner thing in WandaVision. So yeah, let's talk about the Hulk in the room, which is a CGI. This does look better than the first trailer, and at some points it still doesn't look great in parts. But the one thing that's got me excited about this show is the star herself, Tatiana Maslany, and the reason for that is, if you've seen the TV show Orphan Black, you know what this woman can do. She's a solid actress. She should never have to audition for anything else ever after doing Orphan Black, because she plays multiple characters in almost every episode, and some of them she's playing 4 or 5 characters that are in the same room interacting with each other. So she can pull this off, she can do She-Hulk, she can do Jennifer, but the CGI, to me, the way that they move just seems like, I don't know, it's a bit like stuttering internet, that the moves aren't as fluid. This might not be the finished version, because again, it is a trailer, but yeah, especially when it comes to like the faces. And I notice it a lot more with Professor Hulk, because we've seen him in the Marvel Universe before. He doesn't move as fluidly as he moves in Endgame, so CGI is getting criticised a lot at the moment, and yeah, you know, if you're going to put a product out, you want to put the best product out you have, but at the same time, these shows and movies do have deadlines and launch dates and everything like that, so not everything is going to be perfect. And just this week, James Gunn's been getting flack for not releasing the Guardians clip that was shown at Comicon, and the reason he gave is the CGI wouldn't stand up to the internet scrutiny if everyone had to have a look at it right now, so he's saving it till it's in a better state. And I totally agree with him, and I don't take that a trailer is going to be what the final version looks like, but I am really looking forward to this show. It does look it's going to be fun, it does look it's going to be fourth wall breaking. I know this isn't going to be for everyone because there's that whole MCU bandwagon, but you know what, man, forget about it. If you don't like it, don't watch it. And it's just a question of where this show is going to land. I think it's got a slightly longer episode run, so hopefully we won't have any issues with pacing or story in the series. But as always, we're going to have to wait and see. But what did you guys think of the She-Hulk trailer? Are you looking forward to it? Have you read the comics? And what did you think about the rest of the Marvel announcements at Comicon? I'm going to be doing loads of videos in it, and some of them are probably quite a lot of them are going to contain spoilers for upcoming Marvel properties. But if you've made it this far, as always, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. It's just 2 seconds and a small click for you, and it means the entire world to me. As always, I'm Al, thanks for watching.